Views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the hosts and guests. All individuals mentioned are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law.
Hello, welcome back to Moms for Justice. I was just on yesterday regarding NickReiner, and I'm back on today because there's so much more that needs to be said. And I also have some pretty incredible deranged footage that has come out about NickReiner in the last 12 to 18 hours. I'm going to be playing that, but I want to go over some of the facts. Again, they have, for me, have not changed much. Yesterday, I went over everything that's gone on. Some of it was speculative, but it turns out a lot of it has been confirmed today by Rolling Stone. And I wanted to go through the timeline one more time with you guys, and then I'm going to play this crazy footage. So thank you for joining Moms for Justice. I am Carolyn. I'm so glad to have you on the channel. It's been a really great year for our channel, and it's just growing and growing. So thank you guys so much. I love our viewers. Make sure you subscribe and you like this video right now if you can. I would so appreciate it. Anyway, so yeah, the entertainment world has been completely shaken on Sunday. This news had broke about legendary filmmaker RobReiner and his wife, Michelle Reiner, amazing, legendary director of When Harry Met Sally, Stand By Me. A personal favorite of mine is This Is Spinal Tap. I'm a musician, and if there's any musicians on here today, please thumbs up and comment below if you're a musician, because just about every musician I know has seen the movie This Is Spinal Tap, which is like ridiculously funny and so good and so raw. It's such a raw movie. You could tell it is a earlier movie of Rob Reiner's because it's not as polished as his later movies. However, it is just so adorable, funny, and just a spoof on rock star musicians. So if you haven't seen that movie, make sure you guys do that. That would be really awesome. But anyway, they were found dead in their Brentwood home, as we all know, in Los Angeles. And what makes the situation so much more disturbing was the revelation that the suspect, who we now know to be in custody, is their own son, Nick Reiner. So Nick was formally charged with murder on December 16th. If convicted, he does face life in prison without the possibility of parole or even potentially the death penalty. Though California currently has a moratorium on executions under Governor Gavin Newsom. I personally don't like Gavin Newsom because I don't like the way he handled some things with the Menendez brothers, but that's a whole other podcast. So the following day, though, Nick's siblings, Jake and Romy Reiner, they released a heartbreaking statement. Here it is, and I quote, they said, "There are no words to describe the pain that they are living with every day," and called the loss of their parents horrific and devastating. They shared that Rob and Michelle were not just their parents, but were their best friends. And Jake and Romy, they thanked everybody that has given them support and kindness. And they're asking for privacy, compassion, et cetera, et cetera. They want their parents to be remembered for the lives that they lived and the love that they gave to others. So as the criminal case begins and more information slowly is coming out, here's what we do know. And a lot of this was said yesterday on my podcast, and some of it I wasn't sure about, and I indicated that at that point it hadn't been confirmed, but it turns out a lot of it is true. So everything I'm telling you right now is the latest information, okay? So according to someone close to the Reiner family, a massage therapist arrived at the home around 2:30 for a scheduled appointment, but could not get inside the house. And the therapist contacted the couple's daughter, Romy, who lives right across the street, by the way, and arrived with her roommate. Romy went into the house, discovered her father only deceased, and then runs back outside crying. Her roommate then calls 911. And it wasn't until the paramedics arrived that Romy learned her mother had also been killed. Now, at that point, Romy told authorities that her brother Nick had been living in the guest house on the property, but she never once suggested that he was involved in any way, and Nick was not at home at the time that these bodies were discovered. Now, investigators swarmed the Reiner home later that night, though there was confusion as detectives waited for a warrant to fully search the property. So there was this, waiting time. And then at that time, LAPD Deputy Chief Alan Hamilton stated that police were not actively looking for a suspect or a person of interest. But despite that, sources were already telling reporters that Nick Reiner was the one believed to be involved. Nick was the middle child, younger than his brother Jake and older than his sister Romy. While much of his early childhood did remain private, which I kind of dispute because I have found so much on him. Nick had a long and well-documented struggle with addiction, which includes heroin, cocaine, meth, pot, and Adderall. He entered rehab for the first time at just 15 years old. And we talked a lot about this yesterday with teens and young adults and also specifically children of celebrities, how this is not an uncommon issue. Drugs, also feeling like you are living in the shadow of your famous mom, dad, brother, sister, whatever it may be. It is truly an issue today. And then, of course, there's the huge issue of mental illness. Combine those, and you've got like a deadly combination here for something like this to happen. So during the time that he was going through rehab, he had refused a lot of the treatment plans given to him. And his parents continued to push for this treatment plan and later went on to say that they regretted the fact that they didn't listen to their son because they thought that the fact that these professionals at rehab facilities, they have their degrees are on the wall, their plaques are on the wall. And, parents, we're at the mercy of professionals when we have a child that's in trouble. We trust them. We think that they're the ones that know best, right? So what's sad is there are occasions where the child is trying to tell their parents, this is not working for me. I need help elsewhere, or this particular treatment plan is not working for me. And then the parents are trying, they don't know what to do. And it's like tough love. And they're like, well, you don't know what you're talking about. You need to stay right where you are. And are there scenarios where the facility that's treating your child is not doing a good job, or maybe even hurting your child more? So they confessed, Michelle and Rob, later on in an interview that they should have listened to their son because he was trying to tell them, I need more help. This isn't it. This isn't what's going to help me. Please take me out of here. And the parents did not do that. Might explain why there are so many trips to a rehab facility for this boy. I can't wait to say hello to you all. Give me 1 second. I just want to finish this up. So in 2016, he gave an interview, Nick, describing living on the streets in multiple states, including Maine, New Jersey, and Texas. He spoke about spending nights and even weeks without shelter at all in the cold. Literally, this is the son of RobReiner, and he's sleeping on a street corner somewhere. And I have never been homeless, but I have such empathy for people who are homeless. I cannot imagine what that feels like, in the dead of night, in the coldest weather, to be laying there and saying, what happened? What happened to my life? And not feeling you have anywhere to turn, no one to turn to, nowhere to go to get help. And your family is rich and famous. I just can't imagine that. I really can't. He described these experiences as completely miserable and isolating. Now, make no mistake that those individual periods of time where someone is homeless, and then living in a lap of luxury again, and then you're homeless again, living in a lap of luxury again, and then you're homeless again. Those add up, and they're adding to what happened here. Trust me. Nick, he eventually gets sober at age 19. Years later, Rob and Michelle spoke openly about how difficult this journey was for them, and that it wasn't just for Nick, it was also for them. But as parents, and Rob admitted that they were desperate and overly trusting of professionals. And Michelle agreed with this, saying that they were just overly influenced by treatment providers, like I was just talking about before. Nick later co-wrote a semi-autobiographical film called Being Charlie. We've heard about all that. Has anybody watched that, by the way? Because I've not watched it. And of course, it's going to be something that is going to get popular really fast. Too bad it couldn't have reached that level of popularity before this happened. But that's what happens. Crimes like this happen. Everybody gets interested. And now everybody wants to see this film. So I will be watching it. I'm just as guilty of that as anybody else. I'm going to want to see it. So he writes this Being Charlie, and Rob directs it, which is kind of nice, right? Like, what an amazing father-son bonding time they must have had to do this. But even then, I would think that there would be some butting of heads. The son wrote it, and then your famous father, who can do no wrong in the directing department, is the one directing it. And you can see in some of the interviews that they did on the movie, they're together in these interviews, you can see that there's times where Rob answers a question that I think was meant for Nick, and you can see it in Nick's face, like he felt he was cut off. I don't think Rob did that on purpose, though. From everything I've seen, Rob appears to be a loving father. So, yeah. All right, so you've got the Being Charlie movie, and on Saturday, let's move to Saturday night. Here's the information I have about the Conan O'Brien party, and I got a little more detail, and I'll help to clear up anything that anyone is not sure about. Let me say hello real quick before I talk about the party. How are you guys? Let me know where you're from. Please comment below. Let me know where you're from. Let me know your thoughts about this horrible tragedy that has occurred. Pay homage to Rob Reiner. Let us know your favorite Rob Reiner movie. They are so fun, his movies. So he deserves that. He was an amazing director. Please comment below. So Conan O'Brien's party, Saturday night, December 13th. Rob and Michelle attends a holiday party at Conan O'Brien's home. Although only the couple apparently was invited. And sources had said that Nick could come with them because the parents asked, well, we're worried about our son. We want to keep an eye on him because he had some odd behavior. So they literally had to ask Conan O'Brien if they could bring Nick along. Now, according to multiple reports, the Reiners were hesitant to leave him alone that night due to concerns about his recent actions, which were described as, quote, intense and stressful. And what happened at the party had been described slightly differently depending on whichever source you're getting it from. So I'm going to just give you an overall picture, okay? And it's very unsettling. So some guests said that Nick was acting very withdrawn and literally just staring at people at this party. And I thought about that. And you've seen what the guy looks like. You ever been at a party and from across the room, there is just this creepy staring guy with wild eyes? Well, that's what I get from this. So I would have been chilled to the bone. I've seen him myself, and I do think that there is something missing in his eyes. They come across as, unfortunately, soulless, I guess is the right word I'm looking for. Others reported that he was wandering around, just randomly walking up to people that were at this party and asking questions like, "Are you famous?" And like taking note of this. And what's your first name? What's your last name? Are you famous? What movies have you written? Just like, but it doesn't sound that bad for a second. At first I was like, well, that doesn't sound that bad. Well, if you're walking up to every single person at the party and you're just like staring in their face and interrupting conversation, not saying excuse me, and just saying, hello, are you famous? I would think that that's pretty bizarre. Bizarre behavior for sure. Now, one account described Nick interrupting Bill Hader. He is an actor. That's Hader. And he was in a private conversation with somebody. And after being told the discussion was private, Nick allegedly just stared at him for like a very long extended period of time. So again, I'm a big one on trying to put myself in the shoes of a scenario and reliving it in my mind. So I'm talking to somebody, having a nice conversation at a party. Somebody, I don't know if Bill Hader knew who he was. Probably not. Some, young guy comes up to you and starts interrupting your conversation and asking you questions. And Bill Hader said, excuse me, we're having a private conversation here. And the normal reaction would be, oh, I'm so sorry. I'll talk to you later, and then walk away, right? That's what the average healthy-minded person would say. But instead, he just stands there and stares at him. So that is really weird. That is really awkward, and I would be chilled to the bone over that. At some point, reports say Rob and Nick argued about Nick's behavior. So that makes total sense to me that this fight that happened was probably most likely about the fact that Rob was hearing that his son was creating disturbances all around this party and going up to people and interrupting them. So yeah, and as a parent, 32 years old or not, we are still your parents and we're the only ones that are going to look out for you, right? How many times have we said to our kids, look, you might not like my rules. You might not like what I have to say. But at the end of the day, the only person who's truly going to care about your well-being and your path is me. I'm your mother, and I'm the one that's here to correct you, right? So Rob takes Nick aside and starts, I'm assuming, saying, hey, what are you doing? You're interrupting these people. Again, this is me paraphrasing what I think happened, but it's clear to me that this is what that argument was about. So they argue about this in front of everybody. It turns into a loud argument. Rob and Michelle reportedly apologize to Conan and leave the party, though it does remain unclear whether Nick left with them or separately. That is something that has not been confirmed yet. A person close to the family later said that those reports exaggerated the intensity of the interaction and pointed out that the Reiners had dealt with this similar behavior before from Nick. And this was not something that they were not used to, that people had to tend to Nick sometimes, right? And that source also questioned whether the couple truly left the party early, noting that they were accustomed to being able to manage Nick in these scenarios. So that would not be something that would normally make them leave early. So you can take from that what you want. Now, after the party, what happened next remains probably one of the biggest unanswered questions. Okay, so prosecutors allege that Nick fatally stabbed both of his parents in the early morning hours of December 14th. The medical examiner has confirmed that Rob and Michelle died from multiple sharp force injuries. We all know that we've heard their throat was slashed. Clearly, a knife was used. Okay. Investigators also determined that Nick checked into the Pierside Hotel in Santa Monica sometime on Sunday, though the exact timing is unclear. And by the time police located the hotel, though, Nick had already left. And we have heard things about blood being all over that hotel room where he was at. Very, very unsettling and disturbing information. And I said yesterday, is there a blood trail elsewhere? I mean, if the murder happens at the house where Rob and Michelle live, and that's where the blood is coming from, then how did he get to the hotel? Was he dripping blood on the way? Did he take an Uber? Is there blood in that Uber? Did he drive? That we don't know any of that stuff yet. Okay, so Nick had already left, and they did continue to investigate the location and its possible connection to the case. Now, Nick Reiner was taken into custody late Sunday night on the 14th, just hours after his parents were found. He was officially booked after 5 a.m. on Monday, December 15th. And yeah, so there was also LAPD's Gang and Narcotics Division was involved, and the U.S. Marshals Task Force was tracking Nick to Exposition Park near the University of Southern California. And this is 15 miles from the home. Now, they did not explain how they located him, so we're still waiting on that. But local television footage appears to show Nick at a gas station and / convenience store shortly right before his arrest. So video captured multiple police vehicles converging on this convenience store. So it hasn't come out yet, but I think what happened here is somebody spotted him at the store or at the gas station and probably made a call in, right? That's what I'm thinking. So while some people are reporting, well, let's talk about possible motive and lingering questions, okay? So they have not identified the motive yet. So anything I say from here on out is going to be speculation, but some of it is just so obvious to me. Much of this speculation has focused on Nick's mental health and the strain in his relationship with his parents in the days leading up to his death. 17 rehab stints, okay? There is previous footage out there. You've got the movie Being Charlie. I mean, this guy who murdered his parents wrote that movie. So, and it's about the son of a Hollywood star. The movie is about it. So, you know, it's not, you don't have to be an Einstein to figure this out. You really don't. Some are reporting that Rob and Michelle were increasingly alarmed by Nick's behavior. A person close to the family said that there was nothing in recent weeks, though, that would have suggested he was capable of any such violence. But you know what? What do they know? I mean, the fact is nobody is going to think it'll ever come down to this. Nobody is going to think that, right? The worst of the worst has probably already happened in their mind. And, you know, this is a son who struggles and with homelessness and addiction and all those things. So I don't think any parent's mind ever goes there. Like, my life's in danger. I could be murdered by my own child. I just don't think that would ever happen. So his arraignment was originally scheduled for December 16th, but as we all know, this has been postponed after his attorney, Alan Jackson, said he was not medically cleared or mentally cleared to appear in court. Totally makes sense to me. He totally needs to be examined and have a thorough evaluation, mental health evaluation. So this is good. He needs that time. Let's do that. Let's get that out of the way. See if he's fit to stand trial. That'll be on January 7th. So let's play, guys. Some of this, I'll read some of your comments while I'm playing it. But this just came out from the New York Post, and it is footage from 2016 of Nick
Everyone wants
Reiner.
to know how you get your exercise in because you're so lean.
I do it like ISIS. I usually only do one at a time. And I don't even care if anyone calls me a Sally because I'm a snail and I'm never gonna fail. And you know what? You're gonna have to bail me out of jail. Where'd you get this weed?
Say and spell your first and last name for me.
Well, I ain't gonna tell you my first and last name. Most people know me as David.
We're wondering what.
You know how long this interview is gonna be?
You're gonna say I'm a.
This is our producer, Katya. Of this book, this is one of my favorite reads when I'm sitting by the campfire or like relaxing in Malibu.
And it's all rock and roll based. Sorry, I'm not into this rap thing, you know.
Poor dog.
But that hurts my feelings, but like I love rock and roll as well, so I'm glad we can
Okay,
connect on that.
good. See you in Japan, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait for Japan.
Why did you, when you were sitting by the campfire, why did you invite all those young kids to come sit by the fire and have you read to them about it? I mean, I thought that was kind of odd.
That is totally falsified in every way.
Yeah, falsified.
Donald Trump. No, he's my man. He's my man. No introduction. Jenny from the cul-de-sac, of course. She has a boyfriend now who's in the military. He's actually dead. Just died in Iraq. She moved to Patagonia. What was it?
Pasadena.
I guess it could have been pretty awkward when PETA approached you about joining their team.
I'm gonna go kill that dog.
Why do you like Snapple so much?
Mainly because when I'm done drinking it, I can go in my room and squirt lotion in it and then use it to stick my penis in. Sometimes I just come out to gather my sick thoughts. They know the David who go on stage, who has his ways about him, but you know, they really want to know what's inside. Because I like spat on his windshield.
I think we would all just be blown away if you could kind of walk us down Freestyle Alley. Oh look, there's one of your fans now.
That's Barbara. She's blind, so that's why she didn't see the wave. The geniuses, the brilliant ones, the people, I'm referring to myself if you're curious.
You know, we're close to making a deal that will, of course, make him the worldwide star that he deserves to be.
50 million on the line, and they were like practically just jacking me off the whole time.
Going to a party.
Yo,
Good.
I feel
really good.
I feel like I'm like 100 different people right now.
Do you feel really? I do too. I'm like 5.
I
at
got
least.
like
I mean,
100 personality disorder.
Okay, I'm scared of them.
Dude, I was just about to. We just want my mouth is getting a little parched because of how much I'm talking to y'all. But
Okay, so as you can see, that is like totally like different from RobReiner, right? Like you would not ever think that something like this would come out of RobReiner's son, right? It's just you clearly the marbles are not all there. Now I'm gonna play another interview that is lesser. I think it's lesser known. Like I've seen the kind of the same interviews going around, so I didn't want to play like the same thing. But I fast forwarded it right to the part where it's just Rob and Nick. So I'm gonna play that for you guys. Thank you so much for the super sticker, Black Cougar. You're so sweet. Thank you. So pair character lifting some weight. Say, oh, thank you so much. You're so sweet. Thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna play this other interview, and I've got it like kind of lined up right where I want it. Hold on. Okay, we're gonna play this one here. Some people might have seen this, but this is not the one that's floated around the most. So I wanted to pick something that maybe others had not seen yet. So let's take a listen.
Yourself feel better.
Yeah. What do you think your son took away? You said you both learned what you were going through in a deeper way.
Oh, he's right here. You can ask him.
Oh, that's your son.
Ask him. That's Nick. You know.
Wow, I guess I should have known that at the beginning.
Come in here.
Come in here,
He
man.
wants to know what you took away. Here, I'm going to get you one of these.
Yeah. Well, nice to meet you.
I was really interested in what you were saying about the baseball thing and how relatable it was.
Yeah. It just, someone said having a child is like your heart is running around outside your body unprotected.
Yeah.
And I couldn't put it any better. And I was thinking on the way here, and I try to talk about this stuff in my act because this is the stuff that I think matters, is like I am at times that parent that I would mock who lives through his kid. And I'm sure when you were going through your pain, your dad was going through. My son is in a baseball slump, which is nothing compared to what you guys went through. And I literally couldn't sleep a couple of nights. And so I totally understand. So I'm curious, what did you figure out was going on with him during all of this as a result of the movie?
Well, I think I'm lucky in the sense that I have parents that care about me, and because of that, when I would go out and do, things like drugs and stuff like that, I'd feel a tremendous amount of guilt because I'd think, oh, they're thinking about me right now. They want me to do good. And most people don't have, not most people, but some people don't have parents that are, have any interest in them.
Yeah. By the way, we're talking with NickReiner and his father, RobReiner. Nick had a drug issue in his teens and beat it and wrote a movie about it. His dad directed it. And
you see, he just said something that really got me, which is that deep down he trusted that we loved him and that we were there for him, and that
Look at him.
A little bit of a break on certain things. I mean, it's a desire to survive, and that put.
Guys, look at his face expression. You guys watching him? He can't even look at his dad there at that moment. And he looks like he's completely out of it.
And I think that's where we made the mistake, is that we didn't trust that he had that.
If you supported him as opposed to you were punishing him.
Yes, we were definitely
meaning like
punishing
him. You can't use the car. You got to stay home. All that
just
stuff.
The whole idea of throwing him into a rehab place. Just saying okay, and there's a punitive aspect.
But if you hadn't done that, how could you treat him on? You couldn't treat him on your own.
No, not on our own. But we could have maybe just worked with him with a therapist and been a little bit more active in that way. I think we just overreacted, but I mean,
Nick, I
love hearing that he said that, because I knew he has that in him, and there's a part of him that wants to survive, and he doesn't want to, kill himself or anything.
Why were you so deep into drugs? What do you think? Maybe with distance you can answer this, maybe not. Was the sort of the underlying issues for you that were driving you there?
I don't think this is any different than most people going through their teenage years, but I think that I was I had no identity and I had no passions, and I think the reason I had no identity was because, I have a famous dad and a famous grandpa, and they sort of that fame sort of informs who you are. So I wanted to etch out my own identity with a more rebellious, angry, drug addicted sort of persona.
Go the opposite of what your father and your grandfather are in terms of that. But did you also think you wanted to be, through the haze of all of that, that you wanted to be an artist of some kind, whether it's a writer or a director or producer, that you wanted to do something in this business?
No, I had no idea. And that's what aided to the drug use, was because I had nothing to fill my time. I had nothing to look forward to.
Well, wait, you're a teenager in high school. You're living, your parents, as famous as they are, seem like they're very normal people. Your dad coached T-ball.
Normal. We're crazy.
Well, we're all
neurotic
crazy.
like
My mother, yeah, we're right. But my point is, there are things to do in high school, right? Like if it's not sports, it's music, a chess club, I don't know. Your interest didn't really lie anywhere at that point.
Well, I was really into basketball, but I'm a white Jew, so I couldn't really continue that for a long time. And it just seemed like I didn't want to go into that business.
Yeah.
But now, I'm going into it as a drug addict of a famous...
It's kind of ironic that the thing that
came out of it.
This came out of it, and you ended up and do you find that I mean, obviously I know for anybody with an addiction problem it's day to day, but how do you deal with issues that we all have, and now that you don't have drugs to use? What is it? Can you talk to your dad and your mom more openly about things, or do you seek help other ways?
When he was saying before, like, how I was scared to get in trouble if I were to tell them the truth, because they always say, be honest, be honest, be honest, and that's the best policy. But it's kind of not the best policy when you're honest and you get in more trouble than you were if you were lying.
Exactly what my son said. I'm going to send you this link. I said to him, because, okay, it's the summer, okay. I'm sorry, I'm getting excited, but we go to a place. We got a place up in Connecticut. So I'm walking down the street with my wife, and he rounds the corner with like 4 or 5 of his friends, and I can see the shadows. And he's got a backpack, and one of the kids has a backpack, and I hear ditch it, and they throw the backpack. So as they walk by, my son's like all cool and doesn't really want to talk to me in front of his friends. I go, I'll pick up that backpack for you and keep it at the house, right? So I pick up the backpack, and it's filled with a bunch of Bud Light beers. And they had gone down by the railroad tracks, had a little fire, and they, whatever. And this is like the first time for us to confront that, right? So I then interrogated him like a lawyer, and I got it out of him that, he had paid for it. And, it was a lot of like sort of obfuscate, just sort of, I didn't do this, I did that, okay. And I asked him on the podcast, why do you lie? And he said, because when you do the calculation of the chances of getting caught versus telling the truth and the ramifications of getting punished for telling the truth, you take the odds of lying and getting caught for lying. Which I think is exactly what you just said.
Or living with the guilt of lying. You're like, I'll take that rather than getting.
Did you feel guilt? I don't know if somebody at that age feels guilt. Did you feel guilt?
I did honestly feel guilt. I'm not just saying that for sympathy points, but you feel bad when you lie to your parents.
Yeah.
But it's designed for you to lie, I guess you could say.
Yeah. And I was fascinated by that, and when you did the drugs, I guess it sort of just alleviated all of that. It took you away from all of that, and it was obviously self-medicating, and just you were able to relax or feel relaxed. And
there was a level of self-medication. There was also a level of doing something radical and doing something to get outside of myself and comfort zone.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what is? I had a friend who was in AA. He ultimately died, literally killed himself from drinking. And I remember visiting him, and he was in denial. It was all these other people. He literally was that line, like they got it. Did you get anything out of being in those different facilities? Were you able to take anything away long term that's helping you?
You know what I really took away, and I usually bash the programs in AA, but I'll say something positive, which is the feeling of, okay, there's other people out here that suffer from the same thing that I suffer from, and they're willing to talk about it. And that's why I think we did this movie, is because we feel it's important to be upfront about this sort of stuff.
So how was it? I can imagine just me directing my son's work and then putting my nose in, and you're obviously a great writer. So they wrote the screenplay, I would imagine, as a director? You maybe tweaked it in places?
I worked with them. I mean, over the course of a year, I helped.
Was it hard to not to give him his space, and maybe want something to be changed but leave it alone because he really felt strongly, or how was it for you working with him?
We hashed everything out. I mean, some things became fights, other things, we hashed it out.
He told me something that was really fascinating to me, and everything clicked after that. He was like, there's one person on the set that has to make the final decision, whether it's right or wrong, it has to be made, and that's the director. And so after I heard that, I was like, okay, I'll do what he wants me to do. I'll try my best on it, but ultimately it's up to him what gets into the movie.
Yeah.
But the other thing was, there were times when Nick would fight for certain types of things, and my first instinct was I have a lot more experience. But then as we went along, I realized that I may have a lot more experience making movies, but I don't have a lot more experience on this particular subject, and particularly what the young guy is going through. So. I told him many times he's the heart and soul of the film, and he would have better insights as to what Charlie was experiencing than I would, and I would defer to him a lot of times.
And were you surprised to hear the things that he didn't understand about you, or did understand about you when you were going through that as a result of the process of writing and making the movie?
We both had no idea where each other were coming from. But then we
come on, Romy. She just it's a
blockage.
Issue,
Is that's your?
That's our daughter. That's Romy.
Come in. You want to be on?
Oh, this is not about me.
Oh, all right. How old is she?
She's 18.
Oh, all right. Nice to meet you. Are you going to college next year?
Yeah.
Where?
Bennington, in Vermont.
Oh yeah, I ski up there.
Wow.
My buddy John Fitzpatrick has a house up there.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's good. It's great. Good skiing, and you'll probably get discount passes to go ski. So it'll be good. Nice to meet you. You're welcome to come on and talk if you want about anything.
I don't know. I mean,
Whatever you want. Nah, it's about anything. It's loose. It's a podcast. That's the beauty of it. So, you were saying, sorry, that what you sort of took away from his interaction with you over the script and the film.
Yeah, we both learned what each other went through during that time, but really the thing I took away from it was I got to see him in his element, sort of directing and doing all these things. And when I said that in the past, people would be like, well, weren't you on movie sets before?
Yeah, I was
but
just thinking that.
It's different because it's something I wrote, it's my dad, and it's something that we're collaborating on. And I saw he has sometimes a hard time expressing himself through just conversation, but through his efforts.
What do you mean by that? Because it seems like he's very expressive through conversation.
Well, we're on a show right now, but
oh, really?
Yeah.
No, but
Yeah.
I'm
pretty quiet.
He's quieter, but he listens. He's a great dad, and I just mean that he's best explaining himself when he's in his element, making a movie, showing how much he cares through that way.
Do you think that that's the reason you do what you do, because you need? You're Jewish. I'm Italian. I think we're very much alike in a lot of ways.
I grew up in a neighborhood that was all Jews and Italians.
Yeah, in the Bronx. Yeah. So it's very expressive in this. You guys have all the money, but other than that, we're the same. But I do mean that.
You guys got the muscle.
Yeah, exactly. We make a good team. Do you think that in some subconscious weird way, or life sort of aligning up for you, that, Rob, this business has helped you be able to converse with people when you couldn't do it off camera? And
I think so. I mean, listen, no matter what area you go in, whether you're a writer or a musician or an artist or you're a filmmaker, it's a way of expressing yourself, and sometimes you can express yourself through your work a lot easier than you can in real life. And I think that's one of the reasons people do what they do. It's a way of getting their feelings out, their thoughts out, and they put it out either on a canvas or a piece of paper or a piece of music.
Yeah, that happened to me. I was doing these big M&A deals, but then I started writing as a hobby, and I made some short films, and one of them got into the Aspen Comedy Festival, and then that led to stand-up, and I liked the idea of writing something. And initially I got into this because on a lark, I went to see Jay Leno at a private function, and I had all these jokes written, and I gave him the jokes, and he called me the next day and said, I'll hire you to start sending jokes in for the Tonight Show.
That happens a lot of time.
It's crazy.
Two guys who worked on The Odd Couple and then on Laverne and Shirley, Lowell Gans and Mark Rothman. They wrote a screenplay for a television thing, and Mark's father was a limo driver for Jack Klugman, and says, "Here, my son and his father wrote this. What do you think?" And they hired them. Same kind of
yeah, and then he did my joke the following week, and it was the most
that must have
powerful
been a
thing.
thrill.
He called me up.
Something you wrote come out on the air.
Calls me up that day. Goes, "Hey, it's Jay. I'm going to do." I go, "Why are you
it's
calling?"
Jay.
Yeah, it's like, "Why are you calling me? Don't you have people that have people that have people?" He goes, "Nah, I like to keep in touch." I go, "I'm going to do your joke tonight." So I got a bottle of champagne. I don't want to make this about me. And
did he kill
did it?
Did he do it?
Yeah, did it real well, and my head exploded. He paid me $50 for this joke.
Yeah.
Now I'm a middle class Italian kid from Rhode Island. I'm working on these billion-dollar merger deals. Yeah. They paled by comparison. And then I started to go do the stand-up, and I was living a secret double life where I was a lawyer on Wall Street by day, and at night I would sneak around to dive bars working open mic nights in my little suit and tie. And there's a whole, and then I was very lost in my life for a few years because I thought I had my whole life figured out. Like I'm going to be a partner at the firm, and I'll retire in Florida. And then this passionate thing hits me, where there's that choice: do I stick with the money, or do I go where I'm passionate? There's no money, and I couldn't make a decision, and I was scared to death, and I was like looking to anybody for advice, and it was a very, very. I went through a midlife crisis in my late 20s. It was ridiculous, but so you're working on another screenplay, you said, right? Yeah, and what was it about this that you thought could be a comedy?
Well, because, and the people that see this movie that have been to rehab, there's funny stuff that happens, and there's funny stuff that's said, and, you know, like he said, my first instinct is to make this a comedy, but he was wanting to bring the more serious element to it. But there's definitely funny stuff that happens.
And there's funny stuff in the movie.
Yeah,
I mean, if you see the movie, I mean, there's a lot of big laughs in it.
Yeah.
There's a couple of really funny scenes.
Is it hard to reveal that stuff for you? That would seem to be hard for me.
It's not hard to reveal that stuff. It's only hard to reveal that stuff to then get told you're a spoiled white rich kid, and it's like, okay, maybe all these things.
Well,
but
who would say that to you? Not your dad.
No, but
world.
the world, you know. Listen, I had to talk to him about this. Listen, I know what it's like to be the son of, and to have people assume certain things about you, and it's very, very difficult.
Oh my gosh.
Well, how did you handle that?
Well, I mean,
obviously you didn't go to drugs, but you must have had those issues. Your father's an icon.
In the 60s, there was plenty of drugs around.
Yeah.
But you just have to know what you do, and that you have to block out all that extraneous noise. And it's hard for him because this is the first time he's, you know, all of a sudden there's a lot of attention. People are talking, and you know, he has the double whammy. He's got me and he got his grandfather, and they're going to say whatever the heck they want, but they don't know. They don't know what he's experienced. They don't know what he's gone through.
Yeah.
They don't know why he's done what he does, and you know, and it's pretty dumb, pretty ignorant of people to say just because you're born and you have money and that doesn't mean anything. You know, people have their own issues.
Human beings
regardless.
are complicated, messed up.
And also, it's like the Kardashians can go shopping and complain about how there's no air conditioning in the fucking store, and you know, no one bashes them. It's like I wrote a movie about doing drugs and having a hard time, and people still, you know,
people have
a
really
field
said
day.
stuff about that.
Oh yes,
That's
absolutely.
insane to me.
Absolutely.
You know, I just want to say, I'm pausing it for 1 second because, guys, that's it right there. That's it right there. He is, he can sympathize with the fact that his dad was famous. And I really now, it's like really getting clear to me that there was a lot of empathy and a lot of, you know, second chances for his son, for Nick, because Rob understood what it was like to be the child of somebody so great, so powerful, you know, with so much to measure up to. And it was like, it's like, you know, he's saying to us right then and there that let me just say this. If it was me, I would have almost a guilt. I brought somebody into the world who is now the child of somebody like me, who also went through the same thing with my parent. And I would think that there would be extra second chances for a child like this. And Rob probably really struggled with this, you know, that's why there is 17 stints of rehab, 17. I don't think Rob ever gave up on this boy at all. And I think it's just breaking my heart to watch this because it's very clear to me how much he loves his son. And I mean, obviously there will be things that'll come out later about the whole family dynamic. I'm sure the other children are going to speak on behalf of Rob and Michelle as well, but I'm not seeing anything but truly loving parents, and he was all in on trying to help his son. Let me continue some more for you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you have to keep yourself focused and know what you do. Yeah. Know what you do. This is what we set out to do.
Right.
And I told him, while we were making the movie, I said, I don't care what happens. I don't care if, people, they don't even see the movie. Nobody wants to see. I said, we're winning. We are winning.
Yeah.
Because we're throwing ourselves into our work.
Yeah.
And good things are coming out of it.
Absolutely.
And hopefully it can help some people, because we've been on some shows. We were on a show the other day on NPR where people were calling in and were saying, thank you so much for, sharing your story. And they were telling us about what they were going through, and so if you can be helpful in that way, then that's good.
And that must be good for you, Nick, to hear that, because it counteracts the negativity of people saying, "Oh, you're just a privileged white kid," and why, all of that, right? I would imagine when you're touching people that way.
Exactly, and that's what we do it for, is to start that conversation.
Do you see yourself like in this business now in some capacity, or is this sort of just? Look, you're young. How old are you?
22.
All right, so you're young. I was in my late 20s and just did a complete career shift. So is this just get this out and you want to go somewhere else with your career, or do you even know? And not that you have to know. It's young. 22 is young.
When I first started working on it with him, I was like, oh my God, I want to do this forever. And then when we started doing some of this stuff and I started to catch some heat for, whatever.
On Twitter and stuff like that.
Oh, I don't want to do this at all. This sucks. And but now I'm like, he gets it even when he goes on the Tonight Show or whatever. You're the son of Carl Reiner. So it's just the nature of it, I guess.
Mm. They still call me Meathead. No matter what.
By the way, I had Norman Lear on the podcast, and he talked about how great you were, and he talked about the show. One of the episodes was so huge; it had like 60 million viewers, and there was people went to the bathroom, and the water table changed in New York when they went to
true?
Oh
my God, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That means the people went to the bathroom, they were all flushing at the
toilet.
same time.
Literally
millions and millions of people.
Yeah. And he said, you had said, real quickly as we wrap up, Rob, that Carol O'Connor was a support person for you in terms of helping you move you toward directing? And
well, not moving me towards directing, but he taught me a lot about acting. And that was that if the script is good, if there's a good story, the actor doesn't have to do that much. Mm-hmm. You have to just deliver it. I mean, you don't have to do any kind of, handsprings and pyrotechnics with your emotions and acting. Let the story and the dialogue support you. And that was great advice.
I want to end on just a very funny story that I heard you tell, if you don't mind telling it. And it's the Mary Tyler Moore story where you touched.
I did. I talked about on that on Colbert.
Yeah,
that's a true story.
Do you mind telling it real quick?
I don't mind. I mean, it happened.
Hilarious.
I mean, it's not. I'm not telling tales out of school, because Mary talks about it in her book.
Yeah.
And she actually told a story on the Letterman show. I was 14, and I was my hormones were raging. And Mary Tyler Moore was this really sexy. She was 24, 25, you know. She had those hot capri pants and very skin tight.
Yeah, I like that.
I don't know what possessed me, but I just went and grabbed her tush. Just gave her a grab, and I was like the devil was making me do it. And my father called me into the office and says to me, Did you grab Mary Tyler Moore by the tush? And I went, yeah. And he had a big smile on his face and said, don't ever do that again.
That's my boy. Well, it's a really great story, and I wish you much success, Nick. And it seems like things are going great, and maybe you write a movie for me and I'll get a little part in it or something like that. And
about a father who hounds his kid to play baseball.
No, you know what? We'll get your sister in it. He hounds his kid, his daughter, about skiing and being on a ski team in Bennington. So we'll all be in it.
There you go.
And then your dad shows up, and he's the old crusty ski guy that lives in a lodge with no heat. And,
Wait a minute, I think you're onto something.
and there's no plumbing, but he has the wisdom. He was burned by the spotlight of being an Olympic skier, but now he has the wisdom of life to impart on the three
And
of us.
everybody's scared of him because they think he's something, that he's a monster, but
It's
he
like
turns out to be the...
It's like the Home Alone guy who
Yeah.
lives across the street.
Yeah,
So
there you go.
anyway, it was such an honor to have you.
All right. So, guys, I don't know. I get caught between the whole, there's true tragedy and mental illness, and some people deserve, obviously, help first, and then understanding and all that. There's a lot of people out there that are like, we have a mental health crisis, and it's almost like they want to just give this guy a pass, but at the same time, he made choices. He had all the money in the world. He obviously had love and support from his family. And, at what point do you hold them accountable for the decisions that they're making? Especially when you have the privilege that this guy has, and he just pees it all away. I really struggle with that. And I see, I'm watching your comments. There's people on here that are, here we go. 100% of his issues is his choice to be an addict. Absolutely. No sympathy for addiction. I ran out of money sending my adult child to rehab. I now have 0 401k. Children are not entitled to rape their parents of their money and their compassion and their just parenting in general, right? At some point, you have to grow up and you have to make good choices. But then on the other hand, there's people that are really sick. Like if it comes out that there's undiagnosed schizophrenia in this boy, what's your take on that? Do you think that, well, that's an exception to the rule? That's what I would like to know, what everybody thinks, because it definitely creates conversation. It gets us talking and thinking, and believe it or not, it helps to find resolution to these issues, to try to identify, Let's see what else we got here. No pass for Nick. Yeah, no doubt he loved his kids, but was he there for them? Well, he had to work. He's a famous director, so he was probably on set a lot. But then there's Michelle. Michelle was in the house. Michelle was there. And you know what? Whether you like to hear this or not, God's design is for the man to take care of the family and to lead and to support. And the wife, mother, is supposed to, raise the children. So you can't put it all on Rob, right? I mean, that's how a healthy family functions, Rosie says, I understand my goddaughter has been dealing with this for years. I'm so sorry. Thank God she's doing great now. But I asked her all the time what's wrong, nothing, but yet she's staring at the wall and saying nothing. And then here's the other thing. When do you stop helping? When is it where you've done everything you could? You financed everything you could. Does tough love play a role here? At some point, do you have to just say, I'm sorry, I've done everything I can, and I can love you from afar. And when you're ready to make better choices for your life, you can come back, and I'm always here for you. Well, maybe not. Maybe schizophrenia was not, sometimes they get it wrong, these professionals too. Anyway, I'm so glad you guys joined me today. I wanted to play some of that. This case is very, very heavy on my heart. It's been bothering me, and there's definitely a lot of issues here that need to be discussed. But anyway, and I don't usually come on during the day. And I was so excited to have some of you guys come on. And make sure you guys are commenting below. Like this video. You can become a member below by joining. That would be awesome. The Moms for Justice, just become one of our members. And, as you guys know, I do a lot of cases, but I'm pretty much known for the Markel Adelson case. But I love what I do, and I love diving into all different cases. So I appreciate your support of the channel. And yeah, and that's it. I'm going to wrap it up. I will probably be on again tomorrow. So make plans for tomorrow lunch, depending on what's going on with, if there's anything new in this case. And yes, and I will see you then. Have a wonderful night, guys.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the hosts and guests. All individuals mentioned are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law.